Hey everybody, welcome back to PlumFiggy. This is Tammy. Okay, I think we have one of the last videos for this journal. Also, how much do you love that music at the beginning? I found that and I was like, oh, this is perfect. Have to use it. It's so mysterious. Okay, so I have this little pocket that is part of one of those digital kits, and I wish I could remember which one. If I do, I'll make a note in the description below, but I will have all of the digital kits that I've used in this journal listed in the description box for you too. So yeah, so I kind of wanted it to be a standalone flappy by itself kind of page almost. So I didn't do it quite the way it was probably intended, but before I glue it all together, just in case I wanted to sew, I wanted to decorate it first, and then that's something I've learned the hard way too many times. Uh, if you're working on something like this where it's got two sides, and you forget that you want to sew something, when you sew it, it's going to sew it on the other side, plus it's going to seal it shut. So yeah, I figured that out before I did it the wrong way this time. So yay me. All right. So this little pink and green label, I have no idea where that came from. It has been part of my stash for the longest time. I'm sure it's part of some other collection, some paper collection. If you know what it is, let me know, because I really don't remember. And then here is, this is something I bought secondhand, so I actually haven't used any of those. Those are what was left over from what I purchased. Obviously I paid very little for it, but they're really cute. They're like little tags, and they're stickers, and they have holes punched in them already. So I think this one says dream, if I remember right, but they're older, so the stickum is kind of going away on them, so just adding a little bit more to it. And then I'm gonna add a little, just a little brad to that to hold it all on and kind of just give it a little bit extra oomph. So going into my little stash of brads, looking for the right color. I think I chose silver. I don't think it really matters, you know, what color what color I use. Oh, I apologize for my voice and my cough right now. I'm sure you're thinking, oh no, she's sick with coronavirus. I'm not, trust me. I've called my doctor, and I've called our county health department, and they said, no, you're fine. Don't worry about it. I just got a cold on the absolute worst week imaginable to get a cold. I've been working from home. Thank God I have the ability to do VPN. If you are not in that lucky situation, I am so sorry. This coronavirus thing is really, it's kind of becoming more than I ever thought it would become. But I'm trying not to, you know, I don't want to panic or anything, because that's not going to help, right? So I'm just trying to be smart, and I've just kind of been avoiding going out into public and doing anything really around people. I'm not contagious, but I'm really more, you know, I'm coughing because, you know, you have a stuffed up face and stuffed up everything, and it drains, and then that makes you cough, right? So that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now, and that's why my voice sounds the way it does. I really feel fine, and I'm not contagious in any way, shape, or form, but just to make sure everybody's, you know, not freaking out next to me thinking I'm gonna get them sick, I've just been avoiding being in public, and I've had a really lonely week by myself at home. It's really been quiet. I've done a lot of cleaning. I've done a lot of things that I probably should have done, but it's been really good for me. So I'm hoping, and I've got the okay if I feel okay, to go back to work on Monday. So hopefully things will be good. But yeah, so if you've been wondering, in my last video or two, I'm absolutely fine. Don't worry, it'll be okay for me. I've been actually not crafting this week because, you know, when you're sick, I don't want to do anything that might potentially cause anything else to, you know, kind of happen, or, you know, I've just been really careful about things. So I've done all of this work before I was feeling sick at all. I'm just slow to get it edited and recorded. So, all right, back to the journal. Okay, so as you saw, I was kind of going through some of my Tim Holtz flowers and butterfly ephemera. I really do. I like this sunflower, but I remembered there was those white daisies, which I really love those. I'm going to be very sad when I run out of those, because I find that I use them a lot. And don't you love how that looks? It's a little bit cleaner looking, and just a little daintier, I think. But yep, so added some Fabri-Tac to the bottom and the edges there. And that's going to become a pocket. And then I'm going to glue down the little daisies. And then I'm sure you've seen the little fabric hanging off the side. I've got that prepped and ready for this sewing machine, but I'm not going to do that until I'm all done decorating this pocket. So, okay, I think I'm done decorating this side, but now I'm looking for something to stick into that little pocket, and I've got a little piece of tea-dyed paper here, and that's going to make a perfect little place to write a note. So just tucking that right in, and we'll move on to the next side. Okay, so as you can see, the page on the right side, I had a little bit of trouble with my printer. My laser printer actually was running out of ink, so I'm going to cover that whole page because, yeah, it just doesn't look great. Plus, it's plain white, and it wouldn't fit with the rest of the journal. So I'm going to look through some of what I pulled out to use to decorate this journal with and see if anything kind of catches my eye. Those are bits and pieces from that magazine from 1888. Here's a bigger piece from that. And then the cover of it, there you can see, is that the Century Illustrated magazine. Those are actual, that Huckins soup, that is an actual advertisement from that magazine. Like, it's so cool. It's so cool. It's like, you know, what you see and you grow up seeing is what was, you know, antique and whatnot. That's like the actual, yeah, it's actually the way it is. I don't know, maybe I'm too young. You're probably all laughing at me, but looking through all that, and there's some more of that magazine pages, and found this card, and I absolutely loved it. Just a really pretty pop of red color there, and yeah, it was just kind of different. Looking at these two others to see if they might be better, but I really, really liked that poppy one. So kind of kept a few things that I thought I might use, and I'm gonna rip the card in half. Sorry, it's painful to watch, I know, but that's okay. It'll be all right. And then here I'm trying to decide how I want this to work. So we'll have the pocket on the left side, and that's going to be free moving by itself. I thought it would be cool if I made that flip to the left and then the flowers flip to the right. So I think I'm about ready to discover that. Oh, but first, still thinking about the backs, the covering that back page there. And I really liked how this gray page works with the red flowers. I don't know how well it shows up in the screen here on the video, but in real life, in person, it's really cool. So kind of turned out pretty well. So all right, found a piece of craft paper, and I'm going to use that to back the card with, so you could use it to write on and journal on. All right, so I'm just going to place that down, and then I am going to cut around the design of it, do some fussy cutting, because I don't know that we need the sorry you're not feeling good message on there. And I just, I think it would look better with it being fussy cutted. So just gonna get that all nice and secure before I cut it, and I won't force you to watch me to do all that. I think we'll do a little fast forward here, and magically it's done. So, all right, so now I gotta figure out the mechanics of all this and how I want it to work. But first I gotta cover that page. So I think I'm gonna stick that down. It's not quite tall enough, so I'm trying to think how I want it to look, and I think this is better. And then how it's gonna work here. And it's gonna flip out like that. And I just wanted to make sure I'd have enough width of the page so that it wouldn't, get hung up anywhere. So just gonna glue this page and get that stuck down. And looking through my scraps again to find some more to cover the top part there. And I had, see, this is why you keep a hold of your scraps until you're very, very all the way done. Because that was the absolute perfect size to cover that little spot there. And I didn't have to do much digging to find it. So yay me. All right, so just gonna glue that down. And I'm trying to remember what I used for the other side of that. It's been long enough now that we're kind of watching this together now, guys. So, well, I guess we'll see, huh? I keep all my stuff up there. There's some, if you haven't been watching my other videos, that is some antique scrapbook paper. I bought some antique scrapbooks, and some of the pages were left blank. So I went ahead and been using those pages for like backsides of journaling cards and whatnot. So it works pretty well. Okay, so it looks like I found a piece of tea-dyed paper, and just gonna cut that out. And here I'm about to make a mistake, but that's okay. It'll be all right. I hide it pretty well, so. It's a little too wide. I didn't want to cover up all the script paper, so I cut off some of the right side. Except for I cut off a little bit too much. Now you can see there's a little bit of a gap on the far right. So I'll figure that out in a minute. But I had this other piece of fabric kind of hanging around, and I thought, ooh, that'd be cool if I made like a little fabric flip there and put it behind that flower. So here I'm kind of thinking about that, how it's going to work again, because, I got to do it 50 times before I glue anything down. That's the way I do things. But, that way I only have to do it once, and I don't have to fix things every time. But so here we're going to glue this down. Moving it as far to the left as or far to the right as I possibly can, so I don't have that little gap down at the bottom there. I love how this paper takes the tea. It makes really cool stains. I'm trying to think of what the paper even is. I feel like it's a roll of kids like drawing paper. You know, you can get the rolls of their drawing paper. But it's not the expensive brand. I think I probably found it at the Dollar Tree, or it wouldn't have cost more than a couple bucks for the whole roll. So if you're looking for paper, there's a good clue for you. It's really great paper to work with. Also, the drawing pad at the Dollar Tree, the white paper, that's the drawing pad, that is fantastic paper. It's the perfect size. It takes coffee and tea really, really well. So if you have a Dollar Tree nearby, go check them out. And right now might be a good time because they're probably stocked. I mean, I'm sure it's something that they have all the time, but they're probably stocked up for getting ready for, you know, spring break and summer break and all that stuff. So, all right, so here I'm working on that other side of that pocket, and I just was going through some print offs there. You could see, and when I turn it around, I accidentally printed some of these with purple on one side, which is fine, but it just didn't look quite right for this journal to have that much purple. So I'm saving it for pieces like this where I'm doing collages or other kinds of like backing journaling cards and stuff like that. So I'll keep hold of that for quite some time. I've got quite a few journals planned to use some of these, some of these digital kits with. So, all right. So I liked how the blue went with the red flowers. And then I kind of wanted to add something soft. So grab that piece of vintage book page that I put some white gesso on. And here I'm trying to decide what part of that page I want to use, because there's like a new chapter started on that page. So I thought that would be kind of cool to use or not. So I ended up not using this piece. I used the bigger one in the end. This one, it wasn't quite working the way I wanted it to. I'm just kind of moving it around, seeing if I like anything, and nothing's really working for me here. I knew I wanted that blue on the left, so I wanted to keep that there. So I think here I decided, let me try this other one and see how I like that. And I like it a lot better. It had just the right everything to it, I guess. So even the text below the gesso was kind of just right. So the downside of using Yoo-Hoo glue, it curls your pages sometimes. But it's straightened out already, actually. It's been sitting as part of the block of signatures for a while now, so the warp is pretty much gone. All right, I think I'm going to go back to my Tim Holtz, and see what I can find in here. I was thinking, I don't want another flower, so I was thinking a butterfly might be a good choice, and just kind of looking for the color and size, really. That one was okay, but it was just a little bit too small. I wanted it to be the feature, and that size was just a little bit too small. Wasn't quite right. So here I'm trying to decide if maybe one of those labels would be a decent option to kind of offset that, the size of the butterfly. But then I found this one, and it was perfect. The color, the little bit of yellow, the size. Yep, that's the one. So Just looking a little bit more because you never know, you might find something even better, but I didn't. So now I'm just gonna glue those down. That little mini collage that it is. And to minimize the warping, I decided to go with the Fabri-Tac again. And especially for those thicker chipboard pieces, those Tim Holtz die cuts, you want to use a stronger glue. I could have used the glue stick, but I don't trust that it would hold something this thick for a long time. I'm sure it would be fine, but you know, I'm just too careful. So, all right, so now you can see the actual pocket itself, and I decided to go ahead and close it all up because I'm gonna tip it in with some washi, but first I need to ink around all the edges and make it look old. It's hard to do that when you've got fabric hanging from one little side, but I worked through it. It worked out okay. So now I'm gonna get rid of my extra papers and get that washi taped in so it'll flip back and forth. And I didn't want it right on the spine because then I was afraid it wouldn't quite close right. And then went back to my stash, and just, this is a piece of scrapbooking paper. It's from a 6x6 pad. I think it's by Prima, if I'm not mistaken. Can't tell you what pad it is, but I just inked around the edges of that and stuck that in there. So now I'm gonna tip in the flowers on the right side, but first I gotta hide this gap that I accidentally created, and it's just an opportunity for more washi tape. So there you go. And the color of this washi tape just, I think, brings out the flowers even more. So it's a win-win. This washi is a little bit old, so adding some glue. I always add glue though. I mean, if you don't, washi tape eventually will fall off no matter what, because Stickum has an expiration date. Unfortunately, stickers and all that good stuff. So it's good to just put some glue down on there. That way you don't have to worry about it. Yep, gotta ink up the edges of this, and then that's gonna be ready to be tipped in, and I'll use a little bit of different washi tape. It's a different color of green. But first I want to make sure, I'm realizing here I need a little bit of extra room on the right so that the washi tape has somewhere to hold on to. I just want to make sure there's enough room on the left that it's not all the way over to the spine. So, plus you got to make sure it's even and not wonky, because then if it's wonky, when you open it, it's going to look all funky and weird. So we don't want funky and weird unless we're intending to have funky and weird. And I was not intending for that on this on this journaling page. So then I think I turned the washi the other way. No, I didn't. I'm remembering this wrong. I did it the other way on the inside. But don't you love how that green just kind of disappears? It's like it's part of the stem of the flower almost. So this might be one of my favorite journaling spreads ever. I don't know. It's pretty high up there. I really like how this one turned out. It's interactive. It's interesting. Really pretty colors. And the best part is those types of pages, they just kind of happen that way. It's not like I sat around planning this one. It was, let me grab this and see what it looks like. Let me grab that. And in the end, it just really, I just really like how it turned out. So, all right, got a little bit of washi hanging down on the bottom there, so I'll clean that up a little bit. And then I've got washi hanging out at the top of this page too. So a little delicate process here of ripping that off, making sure it's still secure. And there it is. Looks great. All right, so now I think it's just a matter of, yep, snipping off some of the, gotta clean your surface, guys. Snipping off the extra washi here. That's always in an awkward spot too. It's like hard to get to. But got that. And then I think I'll be putting it back into its signature. There you see on the back side of that page, it's probably a little more yellow than it's intended to be. I think that's because my printer was running out of ink at that point. But that's okay. Makes it look older, right? I love that page. It's so cool. Oh, I almost forgot about the fabric flip. So here we're gonna stick that down, and then I'm gonna sew this with my sewing machine. So just a little bit of glue to tack it down, hold it down for the sewing machine. And always make sure you let that dry before you go and sew, or you're going to have all kinds of issues with your needle and thread in your sewing machine. Just trust me, it's better to wait. So I just did a quick zigzag stitch on the top there, and I think we're about done. So here's how it kind of works in the journal. Just quickly flipping through to find that. Oh, I love that purple. So awesome. All right, there's the page. And you see I've sewn on that fabric on the right side. And it flips out. And there you have it. All right, guys, I think that's about it. Oh, I just love that digital kit. Don't you guys love it? Go buy it. Buy it from VectoriaDesigns. It's the first link in the description box below. I'm telling you, it's awesome. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you very soon. Bye.